Hello, everyone. Today I want to continue reading from Experiencing God Through Prayer by Madame Jeanne Guyon. I'm reading from Chapter 5, Surviving Dry Periods. Although God has no other desire than to impart himself to you, he frequently conceals himself for a purpose. It may be to arouse you from laziness, or perhaps you have not been seeking him in faith and love. Now that's very interesting, the way she says, you have not been seeking him in faith and love. So he conceals himself for a little while, so that you will realize your need for him. But I like the little phrase that she says, perhaps you have not been seeking him in faith and love. In yesterday's video, I said that you can't find God in thinking, in analyzing, in scheming, in studying. Studying is the last place you would ever find God. Why? Because you're looking in the wrong place. And there's no faith in thought. I gave the example yesterday. If I pick up an object here, like I don't know, a pencil. The pencil cannot have faith. Oh, I can pick up a computer. The computer can have lots of very clever formulas and facts and figures, and can even has a certain kind of logic, doesn't it? But it cannot have faith, because faith is a relationship. It's a bond between your soul and your Creator. It's a spiritual thing. It's a metaphysical thing. It's beyond substance and matter. So you seek God in faith, not in study. In faith, not in thinking, not in imagination. What is imagination? It's kind of like a mental YouTube or something, all kinds of images floating, and it can be very fascinating, can't it? Imagination, but it doesn't lead you to God. So you can't find God in anything other than pure faith. In the Bible, it frequently says, seek. Christ said, seek. And in the Old Testament, God said, when you seek me with all your heart, then I will answer you and heal your land and restore everything. So we're talking about faith, and we're talking about love. Love is also not something of substance, of intellect, of imagination, of study. Whatever love is, it's a mysterious, it's a yearning for something good. And it's a response. See, all you can do, you don't know how to love, but you can yearn. You can yearn with all your heart. And God answers, and he has love. And he loves you. And then when he loves you, then through you can come love for others. So I just want you to understand. Now, what's the role of intellect and facts and figures and all of those things? Well, they can remind you of the Creator. See, God conceals himself, but then you can look at a flower or the sky or stars or a butterfly, and you marvel, you wonder. You can look at mathematics or physics or electrodynamics or the study of electromagnetism, and you can see some wonderful fact or formula, and you realize something from it. and maybe you understand something, but it always leads back to your Creator. He's the creator of mathematics. He's the creator of science. You see? So you seek him in faith and love, and then everything will remind you of him. And even bad things, when you see people doing bad things, well, you see how not to be. And you appreciate the good all the more. How many of you have encountered someone who's not so good somewhere? And then you appreciate the good people all the more, don't you? You're glad to be back with the good people. So it's something like that. I'm reading again from Madame Guillon's book, Experiencing God Through Prayer. This is edited by Donna C. Arthur. But for whatever reason, he does so out of his abundant goodness and faithfulness to you. Often these apparent withdrawings of himself are succeeded by the caresses of his love. During these seasons, you may begin to believe that the way to prove your faith is by a greater degree of affection or by an exertion of strength and activity. Surely, you may say, this will induce God to revisit you. No, my dear soul. Believe me, this is not the way. You must wait the return of the beloved with patient love, humility, peace, and silent worship. By doing these things, you demonstrate to the Father that it is himself alone and his good pleasure that you seek, and not the selfish delights of your own satisfaction. Don't be impatient in your times of dryness. Wait patiently for God. In doing so, your prayer life will increase and be renewed. In abandonment and contentment, learn to wait for the return of your beloved. Intermingle your waiting with sighs of love. This conduct will indeed please God and compel his return. Yes, that's right. It's very well said. Very, very beautiful. So you see how these words can remind you of what is true, or perhaps awaken a yearning for what is good and what is true, which is ultimately your Creator. Let me add something here about meditation, what I call meditation. In other words, becoming still. And, like we do, looking at the inside of your eyelids and watching the little patterns of light, the glow of light there, becoming aware of your hand. That anchors you in the center, in your center, and it gets you away, it gets you out of thought. Otherwise, you float away with the thought stream. And remember, I said there's no love and there's no faith in thought, in imagination, in facts, in figures, in formulas, in study, in planning, in scheming. So you sit quietly and practice your meditation. And then when you begin, when it begins for you, I was saying the other day, and I realized that this is true. I've heard this before, but I actually realized it the other day. See, how many times have you heard something? You may have heard it 1,000 times over the years, and then all of a sudden one day you really see it. And when you do, then it's beautiful, isn't it? Now it's yours. I was saying the other day that you could get a meditation like mine or one of my books, and it might sit on the shelf for years. And it's there, but it's not time yet. It's not time yet. But then all of a sudden one day you pick up the book and the shingles fall from your eyes. The veil falls from your eyes and your eyes are open and you see. Or one day you get my little meditation and you start to meditate. And it's like a great burden falling away, falling from your shoulders. And you sigh. And it has begun. God began it. But the time was ready. You were ready. So, once it begins, it's the most wonderful journey you could ever experience. But along the way, after you've done, see, in the beginning, there's a great relief. And then after, I don't know, a couple of weeks or so, the initial contrast between the stress and the tension and the total lostness that you had before in this new way, you become accustomed to the contrast. And then you might think, well, is this working? You know, I'm looking at the inside of my eyelids and I see the little patterns of light, and I'm becoming aware of my hand, and I'm doing that, and I'm not noticing any changes. I'm not seeing any angels or seeing the sky open up and, you know, great things happening. I'm just going about my life. Yeah, and that's fine. So don't stop. See, then the voice will approach. Try to take advantage of your doubt. The voice will say, yeah, it's not working, it's no good, the guy's just another phony, just another technique. You know, don't worry about it, forget it. See, the voice is always there. Ignore the voice, continue to meditate, and abide this little dry spell. So, you go about your life. Maybe the only thing that you'll notice then after the initial relief, you know, a little while later, you'll begin to see things as they are, or you'll begin to see something like that you hated your dad. Maybe that's the only thing you see. You see that you hated your dad. But it's something that you have to see. And so it's not like an earth-shaking revelation coming from the sky with trumpets and, you know, choruses of angels singing. But it's a very important thing to see on your journey back toward your Creator. See, along the way, you have to shed a lot of baggage. It's like throwing things overboard. Have you ever seen some kind of a movie where, in order to be able to move fast enough or far enough for something, they had to throw a whole bunch of stuff overboard to lighten the load? You know, well, that's kind of the way it is as you're on your journey. You're like a spaceship, heading toward your Creator, and you have to jettison or throw all the extra baggage, all the angers and hatreds and resentments and all of those. They have to start to go. First, very gross ones that may bring great pain to you when you see them, your hatred of your mom or your brother or something like that. And then later, more and more subtle ones. But anyway, I just want to keep it very simple. And I read this chapter here, chapter 5 from this book. This is a series. I hope I can go through this whole book. You can find it online, used. I think probably used. I don't know if it's still in print, but it's a beautiful version. Now, there are other versions of Madame Guillon's book in French. It was in French called A Short and Easy Method of Prayer. And I have the French version, and I can read French. It's very nice. This one, but then there are other translations. And they're all okay. Some of them better than others, but you know, I like this one because it's so simple. It's very simple. I like it for that reason. And so, and I think it's true to the intent of Madame Guillon.